Welcome back to the channel. Thank you all for hanging with me on this Wednesday. So it's a rainy day. I don't know if you can hear the thunder, but we're not on the water today. But I'm going to talk to you about some baits that really catch them in the post spawn, the fluke, and the buzz bait. When you have fronts that are rolling in and it just gets hot and sticky, these baits are going to be your best options. I'm going to go into a couple of ways to rig a buzz bait and then what you need to look for and the types of lakes that these really shine on in the post spawn, because not every lake are you going to fish shallow in the post spawn. So hopefully what I tell you about the fluke, you can use it on your body of water. But first, I want to talk about what's going on probably right now on your fisheries. So if the shad haven't started spawning, you can live out in the Carolinas, the herring haven't started spawning, you still have a lot of fish that are spawning, the bass, then a Senko is going to be the best option. Now, when I transition from a Senko to a fluke is when those fish start moving off the beds and they start leaving. So I rig it up on the same rod, same line, same hook. So a 4/0 extra wide gap hook, 15-pound test fluorocarbon, and then a 7'3" medium heavy action rod. I like that 7'3" because it's a lighter bait. You got to make long casts. So I take that Senko off once I start getting the impression that the fish aren't on the beds anymore and they're starting to focus more on shad. They're not just focusing on guarding their beds, they're focusing on eating and getting out to wherever they go. Now, some lakes, the fish are going to go out to the main river channel. I like to think of those lakes as maybe your flatter, clearer lakes where fish don't have to live shallow year-round. There's a good mid-range. So when I think of lakes like that, Gunnersville being one, most of those fish, when they drop their eggs, especially the bigger females, they want to get out deeper. And when I say deeper, mid-range, so that 6 to 12 foot range. Now, some lakes could be ponds, could be narrow rivers, it could be fish that live their entire lives in the backs of creeks. Those fish are going to stay near the bank most of their life. Now, if the shad is out in the middle of the back of the creek, they're going to go out there. But anywhere where there's just a lot of shallow cover and you don't really have anything for the fish to get on out deep, they live their entire lives shallow. And those creeks, when you get way back there and the deepest water is 5 or 6 feet for like a mile, most of those fish are going to live around places where they can ambush shad, and that's typically on the banks. Now, why the fluke is such a powerful tool this time of year is it will sometimes slick off, get calm, and you can't catch them on some of those other baits. I would much rather be throwing a spinner bait, but you need wind. I would much rather be swimming a jig, but that doesn't always work. So the fluke is going to be your best option when you don't have suitable fishing conditions. Slick, calm, kind of muggy, no wind at all, and sun, the fluke. And I don't mind throwing those whites because a lot of these lakes that I'm talking about don't always have the best water clarity. Now, 1 or 2 feet is kind of what you need, but some of them have that like milky-ish stain in it. It's not really like a green or a tannic, maybe even a tannic, but there's a stain in the water and there's not a whole lot of visibility there. Because a fluke is a clear water bait. There's no sound, there's no vibration. It is a clear water bait, but you're throwing it in the vicinity of the fish. They're on a target. You can get away with this bait in stained water or even somewhat dirty. I'm not going to say like super dirty water, but a foot of visibility. So the fluke, great option. Now, when you get into a little bit dirtier water and they can't see the fluke, that's when I go to a buzz bait. So a buzz bait for me has become a lure that works basically year round. I mean, outside of the winter, but once that water gets 50, mid 50s, a buzz bait can be a player. So in March, if I get a bite on a buzz bait, it's typically a giant. I don't throw it a whole lot because I don't think I can catch 5 bass on it in March. But when we get into late April, May, when they start getting on top water, a buzz bait is one of my best numbers bait. And then I will throw it all throughout the summer. and it sometimes is your best way to catch numbers and big fish in the fall relative to that time of year. So I rig a buzzbait up 4 different ways. So this would be my favorite way because you can skip it. It imitates forage. It looks really good, and it hardly ever will come off that once you get it on there. So this is an accent buzzbait. This is the only buzzbait I throw. I do have some that clack, but I just feel like this, that wasn't a good one, but that sound, it sounds like jingle bells is how I would describe that. That's my favorite sound year round. Post spawn, fall, summer, whenever. I just like the sound of that. So horny toad, you can put it up on the buzzbait. So this is what the buzzbait looks like. And I've got a couple different ones, but that's what the buzzbait looks like. And this one's going to sound a whole lot better. That's a little bit better sound. The one with paint kind of muzzles it. I like the black blades when it's super sunny, black on black when it's super, super sunny. But anyways, so the horny toad's my favorite. Now, I have been to lakes where they don't bite the horny toad. It's too much. The fish are too small. You won't catch many on it. So that's when I will go with the next best option, and that is a Z-Craw Junior. I cannot get the Z-Craw Junior to go up on the head of the buzzbait, so I just rigged that one up normal. But a Z-Craw Junior on lakes where they won't bite the full big horny toad, I think that's lakes where they just don't have the bigger forage, you go with the Z-Craw Junior if you want that same skipping ability. But that's the Z-Craw Junior. Same profile, just a little bit more finesse than that horny toad. But you can fish in all the same areas. Great around water willow, great to skip underneath docks. You can do a lot with this. Now, this isn't your most natural, so I would say this is more for your stained water, dirty water. This, same kind of water. If you're fishing around docks and stuff where the fish aren't getting a good look on your bait, then you can do it in clear water. But when you're fishing more open water stuff like water willow, but the water is stained, these are your best options. Now, when you get into clear water, you know, like Gunnersville here, where we've got a couple feet of visibility, I really like the buzzbait because for whatever reason, they just eat that. They get so excited. The horny toad, not the buzzbait, but the horny toad. This is going to work most places that have big forage. This is going to be the one I throw like 80% of the time. But if I know they're feeding on smaller shad, maybe the shad are spawning, maybe it's a lake where I don't think they have as big as forage, I like a couple of different swim baits. So this is a Strike King Rage Swimmer, same as that Kitech Impact. This is a really good option. I've been fishing this around the shad spawn. So that swim bait is one of the most versatile swim baits that you will ever throw. You can basically put this on a swim jig, on a ball head, on a swim bait hook, on a chatterbait. I just recommend to get a pack of these and keep them in your boat because you can basically use this swim bait on everything. Now, this is pretty close to the shad that I've been fishing around. I've been fishing around the shad spawn. Now, if this is too much, believe it or not, this sometimes is too much. I've been throwing on Gunnersville. We have a lot of big shad. If you want to downsize that, these smaller swim baits, this is an old school Gene LaRue, who's not even a company anymore, Sweet Swimmer, but a lot of companies make a small swim bait. You could use a Little Dipper by Reactions Innovations, but I want something fairly dense plastic. So when you pick it up, you can tell it's not real soft. It's dense plastic. I like that on the back of a buzzbait because I want it to stay on that buzzbait. So I don't want it to come off, and I still want it to be able to skip and run true and all that. So play with these littler swim baits, but you want a bubble trail, you want slick calm, and you want it kind of hot and muggy. You know, it's in between all these little fronts that are coming through. A buzzbait is a great option. The Fluke catches fish everywhere. It's a lot like a Senko in the regards that a lot of times you can just throw it out and let it sit, throw it out, burn it back to the boat as fast as you can, throw it out, work it like you would a normal jerkbait, but it just flat out catches them. You don't necessarily have to be around a ton of fish to get bit on a fluke, and that is the best part of that bait. So try those two baits in the post spawn. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.